On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, Noblesse, Episode 8, Frankenstein, First Encounter. Without a single doubt in my mind, this is the absolute best episode we have so far of Noblesse. This thing, first of all, aesthetically speaking, it was beautiful. I mean, Production IG has done an amazing job on this series so far, but today's episode, oh my god, was just glorious. And I'll say it once again, I love how they're doing the energy, specifically with Frankenstein. It's like black with this pinkish purplish aura, and then in today's episode there was fucking lightning. Like, it was just amazing. Okay, so enough gushing on the aesthetics. This episode contained so much fucking information. It's literally unbelievable. I mean, hopefully I'm understanding the majority of this right. I'm gonna go watch it once again. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm ever wrong in a video, let me know in the comments below. But there is just so much going on in today's episode. Remember last we left off, the Nobles are basically like, hey, where is Regis and Sarah? Their correspondence has stopped after mentioning the possible, encounter with another noble. Rounding out last week's episode with Getsuel being dispatched by the Lord to go investigate. Well, I mean, we literally pick up right after that. He is at the school's entrance gate, just standing there, staring menacingly. Of course, it's only a matter of time before the security, takes notice and decides to go confront him. Well, this dude is a noble, and it seems these nobles can sense at least, I don't know, modified humans. Is it a smell? Is it an aura? I don't fucking know. But he is well aware that M21, Takeo, and Tao are not your typical humans. So when confronted saying, hey, unfortunately, even if you are a parent, you have to have permission to enter, he's like, well, what about you? I didn't know they allow you things in here with the children. And then proceeds to emanate this fucking aura. Like, oh shit, we gonna have a battle right off the back? No. Everyone, notices that this dude is here. Rizel and Frankenstein are up on the uptake. Regis and Sarah, even, in the middle of class, are like, hey, something's about to go down. Someone is here. We're gonna be late to our next one. They appear full on, transportation jujutsu style in a gust of wind to interrupt said, potential fight. And of course, right off the back, what happens? Regis gets a lecture right off the back. Why? Because this is Grandpappy Landegray. Yes, this is Regis's grandfather, who proceeds to question his grandson's honor and pride interacting with these people. But before anything else transpires, Frankenstein shows up, and the look of shock and surprise on Getsu's face, holy shit. Now, okay, we're gonna switch back to the noble side, as it looks like some elites, I mean, just judging by their character design, are standing before the Lord. I'm assuming, due to the information we get in today's episode, that these are the current clan leaders. Yes, we get a lot of information regarding the noble side. At the tippy top, there is the Lord, which seems to be this female. Then I believe there are 13 clans, therefore there are 13, clan leaders. And it looks like we have a couple of them here, and even, Rich's grandfather is the current clan leader of Landegray. Now there seems to be some kind of, internal conflict here. The Lord wants Rizel's head. That's the main reason, like, hey, Regis and Sarah, they were sent out to investigate the coffin to figure out who the fuck was in it. Rizel is this chick's target. Like, she wants his head, and we'll soon figure out why. But even with the clan leaders, it looks like there's kind of like, what should we do with them? I mean, are they breaking the rules? I mean, technically they are, but they're not traitors. Not 100% what's going on, but we are seeing there's, some back and forth, and there's even some internal strife within clans, as we see the current head of the Kurtia, I'm assuming, judging by his face apparatus, and later on in the episode, as well as his younger brother, seem to have some strife back and forth about, I don't know, position. I mean, there's a lot to devour in today's episode, but we gotta push on because there's just so much more. So eventually, Getsuel is taken before Rizel and Frankenstein's office, and he's just sitting there simply just gulping down some tea like he normally is. I mean, Rizel's Rizel. He probably has nothing to worry about. And this is where, this dude begins to unravel why the Lord wants Rizel's head, and it is because of the eternal sleep placed upon the previous Lord, aka her father. Now, she's under the impression that Rizel is the one that offered this eternal sleep. And for those who don't know, to nobles, eternal sleep is synonymous with death. I mean, stake to the heart, completely eviscerated. I don't know exactly how you kill a hardcore noble, but if someone's gonna do it, it's probably gonna be a level of Rizel. But even Getsuel has some concern of whether or not not he's actually the person who killed the previous lord. So he's like, hey, come back with me, state your case, plead your innocence. He goes, you know what? I want to stay here a little bit longer. I don't know if he's just loving the lifestyle or maybe there's more going on that we are just not aware of. But as for right now, it seems he doesn't want to return. But at least we now know why the nobles were so infatuated with the coffin itself. It wasn't the coffin, it was the contents, the possible traitor to the previous lord. So while they're having a conversation, M21, Tao, Takio, and Regis and Saber are having a conversation of their own in regards to the relationship between, and like I said, he's the current leader of Landegray, Regis is his grandson. But it seems the overall tone is they're perplexed by the relationship between Frankenstein and Getsuji. Like, they have a past, judging by the both their expressions and this atmosphere that was created once Frankenstein showed up. And they even admit, like, yes, Rizel is a mystery, but Frankenstein is even more of a mystery. Like, we're not 100% sure, what's going on with this dude. And before you know it, right after, hey, come stay at my house, just, till we figure shit out, we are given a flashback. Yes, the rest of this episode is a flashback, primarily regarding Frankenstein. Now, it looks like Frankenstein, he doesn't really like nobles, or at least to him, there are some pretty unscrupulous nobles. But off this first scene, we can tell two things. He is a man of science, and he is doing some experiments regarding nobles. And he seems to already have acquired some bit of power as we see him, unleash once again that black and purplish pink aura. Like, it's enough to scare some actual nobles that he's experimenting / torturing. Like, I'm not 100% sure what's going on there, but yeah, it looks like then they're in a great deal of pain, judging by the screams heard echoing from this lab or torture chamber. Like I said, that's how you look at it. Now, we do get a bit of interaction between Rizel and the person he is accused of killing, as Getsuji and the previous, or I'm assuming previous head of the Kurtia clan come walking in. Rizel is already having a conversation with the Lord. The Lord's trying to get him to move in. He's like, I don't want you out there in your lonely little mansion all by yourself. I mean, I can get you, whatever you want, some good food, hot maids. And he is just super quick to dismiss it. And once the subject is dropped, he dips. I do want to point out an interesting fact right here when Getsujil's like trying to reprimand the Lord about talking about Rizel. He's been given a specific and he's like interrupted. The Lord's like, but aren't I, superior? I mean, I'm assuming the Lord holds a higher title or status power-wise, though. I'm not 100% sure. That kind of, it's like almost had like a watch your tone, what you say about the Noblesse, even though you are the Lord. Like, but yes, they inform the Lord about the noble hunter. I mean, literally Frankenstein is out there hunting nobles, and they are, commanded by the Lord to go out there and capture the dude alive. The Lord wants to talk to this dude and figure out what to do next. Now, of course, some fledgling nobles, I don't know how to categorize these dudes. Obviously, they're not the top brass. They decide to take it upon themselves to go out and try to, capture Frankenstein. I mean, they start with literally lighting barrels, what I assume of either oil or alcohol, at the place where Frankenstein's at. Like, oh, let's go ahead and capture him, but also let's burn him fucking alive. That makes absolutely no sense. But he literally takes them out lickety split. And even when, Getsujil and, the Kurta dude shows up, they're like, oh yeah, these nobles, they overestimated their powers and underestimated yours. It's definitely going to take, much more to deal with the noble hunter. And this is where we get a huge bit of information as to why Frankenstein wanted to not only ascertain his power, but also to literally hunt nobles. He goes in like, hey, so it's okay if it's a noble hunting a human, but when a human wants to hunt a noble, there's something wrong with that. So like, what are you talking about? I mean, nobles, as far as we're concerned in the story, are there to protect humanity. At least that's what we're told. He goes, oh, but you just assume that. I mean, there are bad nobles out there. Like, what are you talking about? Like, your blood plaques? I mean, the manipulating the human mind? Like, no, we only do that if they're willing. He goes, no. There are evil nobles out there that are manipulating women and children and just using and abusing them and throwing them away. And I'm assuming, death is involved. These nobles think they're, top shit. So yes, I've acquired this power, justice, revenge, whatever you want to fucking call it, to take out this frustration, this feeling I have to make sure the nobles know humans aren't weak. So this is where the head of the Kurtia clan, introduces himself and begins his battle. He is Rhaegar, and he's basically going 1-for-1 with Frankenstein at this point. But still, Frankenstein power is just amazing. Once again, we see him utilize like the black spears and shit, and it's just, even though this noble is of a completely different class of what we've seen so far, Frankenstein still seems to have the upper hand. So much so that this dude is literally forced to summon his soul weapon. Now, a soul weapon is very interesting. We've already seen it once in the anime. It took on the form of a scythe, and it was wielded by Sarah. Now, we learn in an earlier conversation between, Rhaezel, Getsigel, and Frankenstein that soul weapons are usually passed down generationally from leader to leader of each clan, possibly meaning that Sarah is the current leader. What was her last name? Layard, of the Layard clan. So yeah, this dude is literally pushed to the edge where he has to summon his soul weapon. But even seeing this, like, Frankenstein's like, here, I'll one-up you. I will literally summon mine from the fucking sky, and proceeds to summon some kind of amalgamation, it's not a soul weapon as Getches says, it's close to it. Maybe it's an imperfected one, as we see later on in the fight. And I gotta say, his dark spear is literally fucking tremendous. Doing a complete power move, sending out this giant black scythe, Getsuga Tensho, chopping down, I don't know, basically a forest worth of trees. Like, the power is unbelievable. And once again, it seems that these two are a stalemate slash, Frankenstein having the upper hand, pushing these nobles to the limits. I mean, this ordinary human is standing tall against the nobles. It's fucking amazing. But like I said, it seems that this is an incomplete soul weapon, as the power begins to overwhelm Frankenstein and completely transform his body, almost like that of what we see when, Crans, Jake and Marie, when they evolve or, unleash their power. I mean, his skin is turning, it's beginning to crack with these, these purple and pinkish, lightning patterns throughout. It's like the power is basically cannot be contained within Frankenstein as a vessel. Getsigel is quick to pick up on this, like, hey, let me go ahead and summon my soul weapon. It's no longer about honor. Sorry, Rhaegar, but if this dude, can't contain this power, it's gonna be really fucking bad. So with him summoning his, he unleashes, this move, while, I think Frankenstein unleashes his move, and there's this giant fucking explosion. While the nobles seem, I wouldn't say unscathed, okay, it seems that Frankenstein has acquired some damage. It looks like he's bleeding, as well as, utilizing that dark spear has had an effect to it. He retreats to, a mansion in the wilderness. I mean, we've already heard this earlier in the episode. Decides to borrow some clothes, and who do they belong to? Yes, Rhaezel. And this is the first meeting, the first contact between Frankenstein and Rhaezel. Like I said, I'm looking at the fucking timer so far, and we're in the 20s. Jeez. Today's episode had so fucking much stuff in it. Like, they literally, it's an info bomb. It's just, oh my God. And I'm probably missing some shit too, but like I said, there's just so much. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this. But we learned a lot. We do know that there is a hierarchy to the noble side, that there is, a lord, the clan leaders and everyone below them. We learned about soul weapons. We learned about, the history between the noblesse and, the nobles, and the actual reason why everyone is after the coffin slash what was in it, aka Rhaezel, aka the noblesse, aka the supposed traitor that killed the previous lord. But more importantly, we get to see Frankenstein like fucking unleash some awesome power. And we get a bit of his backstory. I mean, he saw the way nobles were treating some humans, this superiority of, humans are weak, and decides to take it upon himself, presumably as a man of science, acquired this power. And you know what? Humans aren't weak. Not as weak as you think. But yeah, I don't know where we go from here. Like, literally, obviously it's gonna, end kind of okay, because Frankenstein is now the attendee of Rhaezel. So I don't know if they're gonna battle, or it's kind of a just right off the bat they're okay with each other, truly judging by that last scene where he's like, hey, those are my clothes, like I'm sorry. I'm not 100% sure, but like I'm so enamored with this series. Like, it is fucking amazing. Like I said, production IG, you are hitting it out of the park. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, so with all that being said and more Noblesse next week, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.